Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 USA Triathlon Sprint and Olympic Distance National Championships webinar. My name is Brian D'Amico. I'll be the race director for the event. We are super excited to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey for this iteration of the event. Throughout this presentation, I'll touch on very important and relevant information as it relates to the event to not only increase your knowledge about the event, but also go through those specific details for the event. All of this information can also be found on the website. As mentioned, this webinar is pre-recorded, so you may go back and watch as many times as you would like. First and foremost, some general event information. With this event, there will be two main hubs for the event. The primary location will be at Bader Field, which is the venue area. That address is 545 Albany Avenue. This is where swim start and swim exit will be located, transition, expo, packet pickup, parking, which is the only parking option for the event, bag drop-off, and shuttle pickup and drop-off. Additionally, at the finish line, which will be at the Atlantic City Boardwalk in front of Kennedy Plaza, that will be where the finish line is located, post-race food, shuttle pickup and drop-off. That will be at the intersection of the Atlantic City Boardwalk and Columbia Place, only about 100 meters from the finish line, as well as bag pickup. Before we jump into specific race items, I did want to make everyone aware that the USA Triathlon Foundation Gala, a celebration of sport presented by Ticket Socket, will be taking place on Thursday, September 12th. This will be located at Jib Whalen Boardwalk Hall. This is right next to Kennedy Plaza at the finish line. The time for that event is 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. With cocktail attire recommended. There are still tickets available, so if you haven't already purchased, please make sure you go in and purchase to attend this fantastic event. If you haven't already downloaded the USA Triathlon Events app, I would highly recommend that you do so. This allows tracking of participants' progress within the app. This is downloadable both on Apple or Android. Course maps, relevant information, push notifications. Really, it's your one-stop shop at your mobile device to see what's happening with the event and then track your loved ones as the event goes on. As we touch upon the schedule of events, it's going to be very detailed and a lot of information. All of this information is also listed on the website, but I'll hit the higher level key points as we go through these future slides. On Thursday, September 12th, packet pickup in the expo will take place from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Again, this will be at Bader Field at the back packet pickup tent. The expo will also run concurrently during this time, where we'll have 40 plus expo vendors at the venue, a lot of cool interactive items. So excited to have you check out that expo area. As I touched upon, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the USA Triathlon Foundation Gala Celebration of Sport presented by Ticket Socket. Those tickets are still available for purchase. Before we go into it for key and specific race items, just a reminder that there's no swimming permitted on the course outside of your designated race time and scheduled swim warm-up times. Please also note that during those times where you are racing or you're warming up, you must wear your event-issued swim cap and timing chip. Friday, September 13th, the expo and packet pickup will run concurrently at Bader Field. That will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the expo and 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. for packet pickup. Additionally, there will be a designated packet pickup time that all open water swim athletes that have pre-registered for the events must pick up their packet no later than 1:30 p.m. on Friday, September 13th. Mandatory bike check-in for the Olympic distance race will take place concurrently with packet pickup from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So you are required to check your bike in prior to race day. So for the Olympic distance race taking place on Saturday, you're required to check your bike in on Friday between 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. For Sunday's race, sprint distance race, I will touch upon that, but you'll be required to check your bike in the day prior as well. The bag check will be open at Bader Field from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. to accommodate the open water swim competition and swim familiarization. Please note, and I'll touch on more details as it relates to bag check, that bag check, drop off, and pickup for Friday's open water swim competition and swim familiarization will all be at Bader Field. At 3 p.m. will be wave 1 of the open water swim competition. Athletes will be required to self-seed and will start in a time trial format. So male athletes will go first, they will self-seed. Females athletes will follow. And then at 3:15, our open water swim competition for ATD and ATTMI categories will start at 3:15. The swim familiarization for Olympic and sprint distance will take place from 3:45 to 4:45 p.m. As a reminder, all athletes must have picked up their packet prior to this familiarization. If you don't have a chip on, you're not getting in the water. So please make sure you pick up your packet. You're wearing your timing chip for swim accountability purposes, as well as your event issued swim cap. Athletes will be permitted to swim 750 meters in the water, and the last athlete will be permitted in the water for the warm-up until 4:20 p.m. Additionally, we're hosting a free splash and dash for kids ages 7 through 15. That transition will open right around the swim exit area from 4 to 4:45 p.m. And then a start time of 5 p.m. where kids will be doing a 100-meter swim followed by a 1K run. Saturday, September 14th, so race day for Olympic distance. Transition will open at 4 a.m. and will stay open until 6:20 a.m. I highly recommend that you arrive to the venue early. Parking, the only option for parking is at Bader Field. We will be offering the shuttle services. All athletes will have already checked their bike in the day prior, so certainly no bikes permitted on the shuttle, but please make sure you arrive in plenty of time to get into Bader Field Park, or if you're taking shuttle or a rideshare option, to please make sure you plan for that additional time. Bag check drop off will take place at Bader Field, and that will run from 4:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Please note that bag check will only be open during this time at Bader Field. Again, I'll go into more bag check details with specific slides as far as what those timings are. But in general, that time frame for running of bag check will be from 4:30 a.m. until 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, September 14th. The USA Triathlon Foundation VIP tent will be open at Bader Field from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. and will be open at the finish line from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. The expo will be open from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. as well as the Team USA Lounge presented by KT Tape. For wave start times, and I will pause here so everyone can capture this information. Again, it's also posted on the website. But for those items as it relates to that for the swim starts, the first wave will begin at 6:30 a.m. with males 25 to 29, and the last wave will take place at 9:10 a.m. for females 50 to 54. Continuing on Saturday, bag check at the finish line will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That will be at the intersection of the Atlantic City Boardwalk and Columbia Place for bag check pickup. The swim cutoff for the Olympic distance race will be 10:15 a.m. with an anticipated bike checkout at 11:45 a.m. or when the last athlete heads out of T2 onto the run. The bike cutoff will be at 11:45 a.m. Additionally, during the day on Saturday, late packet pickup for sprint distance will be offered from 12 p.m. until 3 p.m. The full course closure for the Olympic distance race will be at 1:00 p.m. And then if you're not racing on Sunday's sprint distance race, please make sure your bikes are checked out of transition no later than 1:00 p.m. Bag check will be open for swim familiarization at Bader Field for drop-off and pickup from 2:30 to 5:00 p.m. And there will also be a sprint bike check-in, which will be mandatory from 2:40 p.m. until 4:45 p.m. So for those athletes only racing on Sunday for the sprint distance race, you will have mandatory bike check-in from 2:40 to 4:45 p.m. Swim familiarization will take place from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. for sprint distance only. Athletes will be permitted to get in the water and swim approximately 300 meters, and the last athlete will be permitted in the water at 4:15. Lastly, to cap off a fantastic day of racing, the Olympic Distance Awards ceremony will take place at the Tropicana Hotel, the host hotel in the Grand Ballroom at 5:15 and is expected to last until around 6:45 p.m. Sunday, September 15th, sprint distance race day. Similar to Saturday's racing, transition will be open from 4 a.m. until 6:20 a.m. Again, highly recommended that you get there early. Bag check drop-off will be open from 4:30 a.m. until 8:30 a.m. at Bader Field. During that time, the USA Triathlon VIP Foundation tent will be open at Bader Field from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. and at the finish line from 6:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. The expo will also be open, as will the Team USA Lounge presented by KT Tape. Sunday, September 15th for sprint distance start times. We'll start off at 6:30 a.m. and the last wave will go off, which is a non-championship wave for ATD and ATT-MI athletes at 9:10 a.m. I'll pause here for a second so you can capture your wave start times and associated cap color. Again, all this information is also posted and listed on the website. Continuing on, bag check pickup at the finish line will be open from 7:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. Swim cutoff for the sprint distance race will be at 9:55 a.m. with an anticipated bike checkout and cutoff between 10:30 and 10:35 a.m. The course will close in its entirety at 11:45 a.m. with a mandatory bike checkout of transition no later than 12:20 p.m. The sprint distance award ceremony will take place at the same location as it did the prior night for the Olympic distance race at the Tropicana Hotel in the Grand Ballroom. Very important for the athletes that are doing both the Olympic and sprint distance races. Bike checkout for those only doing the Olympic distance race is mandatory for anyone not competing in Sunday's sprint distance race. For those athletes also competing in sprint distance race on Sundays, athletes may leave only their bike in their assigned location within transition, keeping in mind you still must rack within your specific age group and gender, which I'll touch upon in a few slides. If you do wish to remove your bike and belongings and you're racing both races after the Olympic distance race, you must re-rack your bike and recheck in your bike on Saturday between the designated 2:40 and 4:45 p.m. timeframe in preparation for the race on Sunday. Please keep in mind the following notes if you're racing both races. You will have the same race number for all the races, including the open water swim competition. So if you're doing one race, you'll have one specific number. If you're doing a combination or series of 2 races or 3 races, you will still have that one specific number. All you numbers are unique to each athlete, and there are no duplicate numbers. Additionally, if you're racing in multiple races, please make sure you wear the appropriate swim cap for the appropriate day of racing. For packet pickup and expo, capturing this information all in one location. Packet pickup will take place on Thursday from 1 to 5:30 p.m. On Friday from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Please note that if you've registered and are racing in the open water swim competition, you must have picked up your packet and accompanying materials by 1:30 p.m. And Saturday, September 14th, that's for late packet pickup for sprint distance only from 12 p.m. until 3 p.m. at Bader Field. Expo times in large part run concurrently, including expo times on Sunday during racing from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Please, very important to note, you must have picked up your packet prior to race day, and there's no packet pickup on race mornings. Bike check-in and transition times on Friday, September 13th from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. is mandatory for Olympic distance, and Saturday, September 14th from 2:40 to 4:45 p.m. is mandatory for sprint distance. Transition opening times on race days for both Olympic and sprint distance will be from 4 a.m. until 6:20 a.m. with a race start at 6:30 each day. Please note that any athlete that does not rack in the proper location within their gender and age group risks disqualification. Mandatory for all athletes to have picked up their packet prior to race day, and you must have your wristband and bike number on. PlayTry will also be offering bike support both at the venue as well as out on course. Parking at the venue. So this is very, very important. The only on-site parking and parking that will be offered for the event is at Bader Field. So that's the main venue. Per the City of Atlantic City, the charge is a requirement for days Friday through Sunday if you will be parking at the event. Parking will be offered on-site Thursday as well, but there's no charge for Thursday. So if you're coming to the event, you must purchase parking for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or any combination of those days. With the pass, you'll have unlimited in and out privileges. So those parking details, as I mentioned, it's a $20 parking fee per day. Those passes can be purchased online. There's no point of sale at the venue for each day. So please make sure you purchase those passes in advance of the event. Parking lot opening and closing times. So please make sure you adhere to these opening and closing times. On Thursday, parking in the venue will be open from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Friday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Saturday from 3:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. and Sunday from 3:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. And please note there's no overnight parking at the venue. On this map here, what you'll see is the laser pointer here. So race morning and other days, the main avenue is Albany Avenue here, Albany Avenue and Black Horse Pike. So in large part, most of you will be coming in from the south. There will be parking attendants out front. You'll make a right-hand turn onto Filbert Avenue, and please make sure you follow instructions from the parking attendants and crew to make sure everyone gets in and parked as quickly as possible. Additionally, this map, and I'll touch upon in a moment as well, notes the ride share and shuttle pickup and drop-off locations as well. So this is right outside of Surf Stadium within Bader Field. This will be given access to those shuttles and ride share drop-offs as well. We're pleased to offer a shuttle service as well. Note that shuttles will only run on the following days, which are race days on both Saturday, September 14th, as well as Sunday. Shuttles will run during the following times. On Saturday, they'll be running from 4 a.m. until 2 p.m. One-way shuttle timing is approximately 8 to 10 minutes from the pickup point at Kennedy Plaza at the intersection of the Atlantic City Boardwalk and Columbia Place to the venue and back. So each way is about 8 to 10 minutes. Please make sure you plan in advance to allow plenty of time if you do wish to ride the shuttle. From the finish line area, Kennedy Plaza, Tropicana, kind of those hotels in and around that area, it's about a 10-minute walk should you choose to walk to and from Bader Field or any combination of the two. Shuttles will pick up and drop off, as I mentioned, from those locations. With that being said, the shuttles will run on a rotating basis. So once they drop off at Bader Field, they'll come back to pick up at the intersection of Columbia Place and the Atlantic City Boardwalk. There'll be plenty of signage noting that as well. So detailing the shuttle pickup and drop off, as I mentioned, located here in the bottom right-hand corner are the timings for each of those, both at Bader Field and Columbia Place. Those times run concurrently with one another. So again, once a shuttle drops off at Bader Field, that shuttle will drop off those athletes, spectators, volunteers. They'll pick up anyone at that shuttle stop, take them back down to Kennedy Plaza. Again, it's about a 10-minute walk, but really detailing the route as far as pickup location here. If you're following my laser pointer, they'll go up Missouri Avenue, down Atlantic Avenue, and then back to Bader Field, and then vice versa when they come back in. This small map here on the left side of the map really details where that pickup and drop-off location is, as I touched upon on the two previous slides. Timing chips and single numbering plan for the event. So all timing chips must return at the end of the final race the athlete is competing in. So for any athlete that's doing more than one race, again, you will receive one timing chip that will work for each race, including the open water swim competition. So if you're just doing the open water swim competition, you'll receive that one chip. You'll turn that in upon the completion of the open water swim competition. If you're doing all three races, Friday open water swim, Saturday Olympic, Sunday sprint distance, upon the completion of your last race, your sprint distance race, you will turn that chip back in as well. Additionally, for all athletes, no matter how many races you're doing, you will receive one single race number for the duration of the weekend. So you will not receive a separate number for open water swim, Olympic, and sprint distance. You will receive one number for the entirety of the race weekend. Within transition, very, very important, it's open racking within each gender and each age range. So for example, each rack space will be individually stickered. So the sticker for females 20 to 24, male 20 to 24, males 50 to 59, 54, males 55 to 59, so on and so forth. There will be individual rack stickers that state that age and gender range for that specific section of athletes. So in other words, there will be, for example, 100 stickers that say male 40 to 44. Those are the individual rack spots where male athletes 40 to 44 will rack. You can open rack within that age range, but please make sure that you rack within your assigned gender and assigned age range. Otherwise, you'll risk disqualification. Timing chips should be worn around the ankle, preferably on your left ankle. And please make sure you know it's your responsibility as an athlete to ensure your timing chip is brought and worn during the races. This includes if you're partaking in a swim familiarization, we won't be issuing backup chips. Races, so on and so forth. So please make sure you bring your assigned chip as your responsibility. Swim caps and wristbands. So for athletes that are racing in multiple races, you'll receive a different swim cap and swim cap color, most likely for each race, and these will be pre-stuffed within your packets. Additionally, for each race you're doing, athletes will receive a wristband. Those wristbands will also have your race number on that for additional security purposes. After receiving your packet, it is mandatory for athletes to write the race number on the outside of their swim cap, and we'll have markers located at that swim cap numbering stations once athletes go through the packet pickup flow. Again, super important, athletes need to be aware of which cap color corresponds to each race, and there'll be appropriate signage, an abundance of signage around the venue serving as reminders. For body marking, athletes will receive a double set of tattoos. So those tattoos are only to be worn on the outer part of each bicep. If they're not working, they fall off, there's issues putting them on, we will have markers as backup. Swim cap, as I mentioned, please make sure your race number is written on both sides of your swim cap. Additionally, race bib, that's required for all races, obviously excluding the open water swim competition, and it must be worn on the run. It's not required to be worn on the bike. Here's a preview of what the bibs and race systems will look like, as well as the envelope. So as you can see, bib to be worn on the run. Here's your envelope for your packet. So this very much details your wristband, your race bib, your race tattoos, as well as placement. And then additionally, the race system for your bike sticker. Okay, for bag check procedure. So we will be offering bag check as we do at all of our other national championship events. If you need a bag check bag, a clear plastic bag, those will be at the bag check tent at Bader Field to store your gear on a race day. So these bags are approximately 18 by 24 inches. When you go into transition, you may bring a transition bag into transition, but you may not leave that bag in transition. So you're only leaving race essentials. Once your race essentials on race morning are at your specific spot and rack location within transition, everything comes out that's not race essential. That goes in the clear plastic bag that you get a bag check tent. It's then checked. Your number is either written on your bag or you use one of your additional stickers that you received on your race system within your envelope to put on that bag. Those bags will be locked down and secure. Additionally, please make sure that you do not leave any bags or backpacks unattended at the venue. We have a bag check for a reason, so please make sure you utilize. We anticipate a large amount of athletes parking on site as well, so you're always free to leave those bags in your cars also. Okay, very important from a bag check schedule standpoint. So Friday, bag check will be open from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. only. This will be at Bader Field for both drop off and pickup. For Saturday's Olympic distance race, the timing for drop off of your bag at Bader Field is from 4:30 to 8:30 a.m. Pickup, you've dropped your bag off at Bader Field. Pickup is only permitted at the finish line. So very important. You're dropping off at Bader Field. You're picking up at the finish line. The first transport of bags will be at 7:30 a.m. from Bader Field to the finish line area for bag check pickup. The second transport of bags will be at 8:45 a.m. from Bader Field to the finish line area. So for example, if an athlete comes for transition, check in on race morning, transition is open from 4 a.m. to 6:20 a.m. That athlete is required to check in transition. Transition will be locked down no later and by 6:20 a.m. If my wave isn't going off until 8:30 a.m., effectively I have until 8:30 when bag check closes to drop my bag off. And that will be then transported down to the finish line at that 8:45 time frame. Pickup at the bag pickup location at the finish line area at the intersection of the boardwalk and Columbia Place will be open from 8:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. For Saturday's swim familiarization bag check, that will be open from 2:30 p.m. until 5 p.m. Again, this for drop off and pickup will be at Bader Field. Sunday, very similar to Saturday during the race. The drop-off time at Bader Field will be from 4:30 a.m. until 8:30 a.m. There'll be two sets of transport of bags, one at 7 o'clock a.m. and one at 8:45 a.m. that will go from Bader Field down to the finish line area for a pickup time between 8:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. The finish line will be located, as mentioned, at the Atlantic City Boardwalk in front of Kennedy Plaza. Water, Gatorade endurance formula, plenty of medical support, finisher medal, post-race snacks, as well as the shuttle pickup and drop off and bag pickup point will be located in and around this historic area. Very important before we jump into venue and course maps. Bike course prior to race day. Absolutely no bikes are permitted riding on the Atlantic City Expressway before the event. As we look through the venue, what we'll do is we'll start with the parking area, which will be located here. If you remember from the previous slide, you'll enter via Filbert Avenue. This is where the shuttle drop-off and rideshare pickup will be, as well as a parking entry point. Once you park and navigate to the venue, you'll be directed directly into the expo area. Within the expo area, this is where VIP tent will be located at Bader Field, packet pickup will be located, event merchandise, bike support will be located there, as well as a couple additional informational items such as the volunteer information tent. Food trucks will be located there, and if you are a club, there will be a club village area located there as well. As you navigate down closer to swim start in that area, you'll pass where run out and bike out are located. This is where bike check-in and check-out will be located. So if you can see my laser pointer here, this is where that check-in and check-out point will happen. As you flow through transition, swim in and bike in are located on this bottom side of transition. Swim staging area is located just behind the swim entry point prior to the swim start area. For the open water swim competition, so this will take place on Friday, September 13th. Start times, as I mentioned, are 3 p.m. and 3:15 p.m. with a timed triathlon trial start. Self-seated, males will go first and females will go second. Again, just a reminder, you must have pre-registered for this event and picked up your packet. As far as the course is concerned, we'll start in a time trial format. So athletes will start at the boat ramp at swim start. Your time will start when you cross that mat. We'll send anywhere between 3 to 5 athletes every 3 to 5 seconds. Athletes will go out. They will take all buoys on their left shoulder. So outbound, you will keep all orange buoys to your left. You'll make that final turn. And then coming back inbound, you will keep all buoys on your left shoulder, and those will be yellow tetrahedron buoys prior to your swim exit to your right side. Swim familiarization, very similar. Again, just a reminder, all athletes must have picked up their packet where they're assigned event swim cap as well as their timing chip. This will be on Friday from 3:45 to 4:45 p.m. prior to Saturday's race, and an additional swim familiarization will be offered Saturday afternoon as well for Sunday's race. Okay, swim warm-up for sprint Olympic distance. So the swim warm-up will follow the orange dotted line as located here by the neon pink or red polygon. So swim staging areas, we will stage athletes 2 to 3 waves in the hole. So wave 1 is ready to start. Their swim warm-up will be this distance from entering the water at the boat ramp to the swim start area where a lane line will be buoyed and anchored, where those athletes will start in water. Once those athletes start, the next wave of athletes will get in the water. Their warm-up will be to the swim start area. So please make sure athletes, when you enter the water for your swim warm-up, you're swimming to the swim start area, and that is designated as your swim warm-up prior to your wave start. Transition. So those mount and dismount lines will be clearly marked. Your mount line will be a thick green line. Your dismount line will be a thick red line. You must rack, as I mentioned, in your assigned age group and gender with no exceptions. Please make sure you rack your bike by the seat to start the race. When you come into T2, you are able to then rack your bike by either the bars or the seat. Please know only race essentials allowed in transition, and no bags can be left at the bag check tent on their own. Those must go in those clear plastic bags. Transition flow. So as we work through this, as I mentioned, swim staging area and swim entry point, there will be a mat at the swim entry. That is strictly for accountability for Saturdays and Sundays races. You'll then do your swim warm-up following the orange dotted line to the swim start area. Upon the sound of the horn, you'll go out. You'll then exit to the right once you come back inbound. So we will have a series of banana buoys. Those will force you out at an adjacent boat ramp exit. A short run into swim in. Please note the water is a brackish water, so there will be showers located here that you will run in through upon exiting the water. You'll come into transition. You'll then exit on the bike. Mount line will be clearly located, so you'll be biking out. Again, riding on the right, passing on the left within your assigned lane. Once you come back in, you'll come back in through the venue. Dismount line will be clearly marked and penalty tent, which hopefully no one is stopping at, just prior to entering transition. Upon throwing on your shoes, you'll run out on the northwest side of transition, hit your first aid station, and then going down Albany Avenue to the boardwalk. Okay, Olympic distance course overview. So Olympic course, swim, 1 lap course. As I mentioned, it'll be an in-water start on a rectangular loop, and all those buoys must be kept on your left shoulder. So outbound buoys will be those orange buoys on your left shoulder, always to your left. Inbound, once you make that far turn, those buoys will be yellow triangular buoys. Those must be kept on your left shoulder as well. Please make sure you review the map for the exact course. There will be an abundance of on-water support in the form of boats, lifeguards, and kayaks. And please make sure you're at the start at least 20 minutes prior to your wave start. Detailing the Olympic distance course, as I've previously mentioned, your swim warm-up will be following that orange dotted line. There'll be a buoyed and anchored leg line here at your swim start, so it'll be an in-water start. Upon the sound of the horn, athletes will begin. Again, all buoys must stay to your left. Once you make that final far turn, when you're going back inbound, heading towards the swim exit, you'll see those series of yellow buoys. Those must be kept on your left shoulder, and then a right-hand turn to the swim exit. The Olympic distance bike course is a 2-lap course. For the large majority of it, it's a mostly flat course. The specific lanes and course that the athletes are riding in will be closed to vehicular traffic. Please know that athletes, you'll be riding on the right side of your lane and passing on the left, as you typically do. The right vehicular lane and shoulder will be completely closed for athletes. So again, athletes should ride in the shoulder and far right side of the lane you're riding in. Please make sure that there are portions of the shoulder that may contain rumble strips. So please make sure this is all rideable area that you can ride on the course. Please make sure you keep your head up at all times, including exiting and entering the Bader Field area. Further, and I'll detail this on the following slide as far as a visual of the course. At exit 2, this is your decision point. So you're either going to stay straight to go into Atlantic City on lap 2, or you're going to stay right if you've already completed your second lap to go into transition. There's no bottle exchange on the bike course, and USAT officials will be on course. Just a reminder, absolutely no bikes allowed on the expressway before the event outside of race times. So detailing the map here, what we'll do is we'll start in transition, this magnified area. So you'll be biking out. You'll bike out on the inside lane, again, riding to the right side of the inside lane when you go out. So shifting to the larger map here. So when you're going outbound from Bader Field, you'll be going out here, continuing up around on the Atlantic City Expressway. You'll then get off at exit 5, where you'll take a right-hand turn and then a left onto Reading, another right-hand turn, and then left onto Delilah Road. You'll do a quick 180 there, and then you're going back the same way. You'll hop back on the Atlantic City Expressway on exit 5, travel down the Atlantic City Expressway. Here's where your decision point is, whether you are on lap 1 or lap 2. If you're on lap 1, again, you're going to continue straight going down into Atlantic City. This is kind of a jog around where you go down Mississippi Avenue. This is fully closed once you get in here. It'll be very clearly marked. Back up on the expressway. You'll then continue to go northbound the expressway to do lap 2. Coming back down at this point, you've completed your entire second lap on the expressway. So you'll stay right at exit 2, back into Bader Field, and then back into transition. The run course for the Olympic distance race will be a 1-lap out and back course, 10 kilometers. The majority of this will take place on the Atlantic City Boardwalk, and there'll be 5 aid stations offered. They will be offering Gatorade Endurance Formula, water, as well as gels. With this being said, these will not be self-serve aid stations. So there'll be staff and volunteers at those aid stations giving out both the Gatorade, water, as well as gels. There'll be plenty of volunteers and police on course, and then a finish on the boardwalk in front of historic Kennedy Plaza. Detailing the Olympic distance run course. So starting in the magnified portion, you'll run out. You'll hit your first aid station about approximately 100 meters upon exiting T2. You'll run south on Albany Avenue. Runners will have a defined lane. When you're running south down Albany Avenue, you'll take a left-hand turn onto the Atlantic City Boardwalk. You'll then make another right-hand turn where you'll be down on the beach. So the sand will be covered with Moby mats. So it'll be a semi-solid surface. You'll come up, down and around the piers and the pier shops, all the way down the Atlantic City Boardwalk. You'll be running water side on the outbound. You'll do your 180 at the Atlantic City Boardwalk intersection and Atlantic Avenue intersection. This will be very clearly marked as well. You'll hit another aid station, and then the last mile presented by U.S. Air Force Special Warfare will take you down to the finish line right in front of Boardwalk Hall and Kennedy Plaza. For the sprint distance course, so very similar from the swim, it's a 1-lap course, in-water start with a rectangular loop. All buoys must be on your left shoulder. So orange can buoys on your outbound will be on your left shoulder, and then yellow triangular buoys will be on your left shoulder for inbound, approaching, swim, exit. Detailing the swim course for sprint distance. Again, swim staging area here. Your swim warm-up will be from the boat ramp for swim start to the swim, from the swim entry area until swim start. Upon the horn start, athletes will swim, again, keeping all orange buoys on the left for outbound and all yellow buoys on their left shoulder for inbound. 3 to 4 banana buoys will force you out at a adjacent swim exit ramp. There'll be showers there that athletes will run through prior to going into T1. The sprint bike course is a 1-lap course. Again, mostly flat, very, very similar to the Olympic distance, with the exception of you're not going into downtown Atlantic City on that southern part of the course. So you'll be riding in the right side of your lane and passing on the left. Again, please make sure you keep your head up at all times, including exiting and entering Bader Field. Again, no bottle exchange and absolutely no riding of bikes on the expressway prior to the event. So detailing the sprint distance bike course, going into the magnified portion right now, you'll bike out. You'll be biking out on the interior lane. Again, you're still riding on the right side of your lane and passing on the left side. Upon exiting transition, you will continue up the expressway all the way down, or should I say up the expressway. You'll exit on exit 5. You'll make a right-hand turn, a left-hand turn onto Reading, and then another right-hand turn before making a short turn onto Delilah Road where you'll do the 180. You're then coming back onto the expressway. We exit 5 on the opposite side of the road that you exited on, all the way down the Atlantic City Expressway, where you'll be forced off onto exit 2, and then back into Bader Field. The sprint distance run course is a 1-lap 5K course. Again, majority on the Atlantic City Boardwalk with Gatorade Endurance Formula, water, and gels at 3 aid stations. Again, plenty of volunteers and police will be on course. So detailing this, upon exiting of T2, you hit your first aid station, same location as the Olympic distance aid station, about 100 meters outside of exiting transition. You'll continue south on Albany Avenue, and then you'll hop on the Atlantic City Boardwalk at the intersection of Albany Avenue and the Atlantic City Boardwalk. You'll hit your second aid station on your right-hand side, so you'll be running water side. You'll go down and around, so we will force you down at the Florida Avenue from the boardwalk area. You'll be running on top of Moby mat on a semi-solid surface. On the sand, back up around the pier shops. You'll hit your third and final aid station before a quick 180. You'll then hit the U.S. Air Force Special Warfare last mile. Again, around the pier, and then finishing in front of Boardwalk Hall and historic Kennedy Plaza. For rules and officiating, all rules will be conducted under the 2024 USA Triathlon Multi-Sport Competition rules. Since this event is a national championship and world triathlon qualifier, water temperature will be used for all swim segments, and events are as follows. So wetsuits are forbidden at 76.2 degrees Fahrenheit and above, and wetsuits are mandatory at 60.6 degrees Fahrenheit and below. As of about 3 or 4 days ago, which would be August 25th, the current water temperature was around 77 degrees. So depending on weather, that could fluctuate up and down. So it'd be very, very close to a wetsuit forbidden versus a wetsuit optional swim. Again, that cutoff is 76.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Unsportsmanlike penalties and conduct are classified as a failure to follow instructions from staff, volunteers, or officials, and may result in disqualification, as well as improper racking outside of your gender and assigned age group. Again, officials will be on course, and on-course notification for penalties will be enforced. For awards categories, I won't go into too much detail here. This is all posted on the website. But for both Olympic and sprint distance, those non-draft races in which both of those are, we'll go 10 deep for each of those. Olympic distance races, the minimum age is 17. For sprint distance is 15. So those will be detailed out 10 deep for each of those. Additionally, we'll go 3 deep for overall, masters, grandmasters, open water swim competition, as well as Clydesdale and Athena. Award ceremony location for Friday for the open water swim competition. This will be located at Bader Field in the expo area by the video board. For Saturday and Sundays, these will be located in the Tropicana Hotel in the Grand Ballroom, or otherwise known as the Grand Exhibition Center in the South Tower. So that will be the same for Saturday and Sunday. With the Tropicana, there's multiple towers, so please note that this is located in the South Tower. Lastly, as another reminder, we abide by the Compete Clean as supported by USADA, so the United States Anti-Doping Agency. So all USA Triathlon National Championships are a personal responsibility for training and competing clean in accordance with those USADA's regulations. If you do have any questions and should testing occur, there's strict protocols that must be followed. So please, if you haven't visited the anti-doping website, either via USADA or via the page and subpage on usatriathlon.org, please make sure you do so. That's all that I have from my end. We are super excited to have you all in Atlantic City for a safe, fun, and fast weekend of racing. If you do have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to nationalevents@usatriathlon.org. This will be posted on the website, as well as more detailed information is found on that specific event page. So thank you all very much. Safe travels to Atlantic City, and we'll see you soon.